not to downplay them as a team, Side Effects as a whole have had a very rough season. They came together at the beginning of the season, have been working with the scraps that they have in their players, in their roster. Boy, have they come in a strong outing here today. And taking a nice chill off here in Russia, Full Sky Industries. I think it's a good call for Side Effects to take, as it is their map choice. And HSL Esports will allot into defend first. So Side Effects, I like this map pick because it enables Frost and Jonah.
Yeah.
Their DPS picks will be able to come through in fruition here. HSL Esports, they can play around the same thing. We started highlighting A10 has that flexibility in their back pocket. HSL Esports, though, they're just playing with the defensive goats on the one change that has he done on the Ana. Didn't exactly work too well for them on King's Row first defense. Side Effects, though, just taking a little bit of scouting, kind of hanging out, seeing what they have to fight against. Not going back to swap anything. It's a solo tank, triple DPS with their off tank, flex tank, meta hand on Sombra.
But look at this play from Jonah. He's going to be able to follow up with all of the distraction that Boger can provide. Waiting on Saab to come in with the pharmacy combo as well. Again, the quad DPS. Which just, again, you mentioned it. Solo support, solo front. Jonah will scout out one on the high ground and then immediately start to put some pressure onto the shield of Chubbs. Stardust will kind of look at Boger from across opposite corners of the point itself. And now the pharmacy, can it find some success? It is floating just overhead, and it's got a lot of people trapped up in that little engineering bay over to the right-hand side. Now Frost from the left, a lot of pressure all over the map. We saw Frost pop up on this before, waiting for an opportunity to find the support line. We'll throw one quick little mini headshot into the Reinhardt just to let him know that he's there. A little bit of pressure, but so far just posturing and no real success as far as eliminations yet, Panda.
Yeah, just taking the poke phase. This is a corral composition that Side Effects are doing. Taking them out of pressure, just pushing them into the mega pack. The shield will go down eventually. What's most important is that Tech 36 has to go into overtime mode. A lot of damage to be eaten. A lot of sustain that has to be done with his defense matrix alone. He is the only member of HSL Esports that can effectively deal with Saab in the air on Pharah.
No mech, and we have a barrage. Will this be the opportunity for Saab? He lets it rip, but he throws it all into Chubbs. He is able to find one before he gets slept for a small moment. FD God will clean it up, so it will be a front line for damage trade. FD God is all over the map. He goes from left to right, upside down, inside out. He's all over the place, finding all of the damage, and that's going to be enough for HSL to hold on for this defense for now, especially with that delayed pick on the Mercy and Meta as well in the Sombra. A really sustainable hold from FD God.
Yeah. Barrage got shut down. Tech 36 got another mech. FD God, like you said, just revolving around the map like a madman. I mean, Full Sky Industries is actually a fantastic map to warm up your skates for Lucio. It's not just a pun for the ice that's on the lakes, but it's also for FD God, as he is that very aggressive Lucio player. Will take matters into his own hands. He says, Widowmaker? Cool. 3-round burst, Soundwave? Got it. Side Effects, on the other hand, they will have an EMP walking in here. Meta Hand needs to find at least 3 of HSL Esports. Will get pushed away from this point. Probably just fishing for the Ana. More importantly, we'll find FD on the flank.
Is there the follow-up? Boger will dive on in as well. The EMP needs to come out here soon. At least he would have soon. There it is.
Nice.
It only
EMP.
finds 3, though, and most of them didn't even have ultimates. The minefield gets placed a little bit lower out, but again, this is just able to be sustained from HSL. They're still here as a full 6, and Jonah gets taken down. Metahan low, but he will be able to come back no problem into at least half HP. But regardless, losing out on Jonah and that extra DPS and Boger having used all of his cooldowns, Side Effects can't push.
They're still staying on this composition too, and you have to. You already have so much investment. You're about to have the Valkyrie, and you're about to have the Barrage. Jonah's about to have a pulse spawn. The Hidan goes down here. HSL Esports could crumble, but they have a lot of other sustain with the Brigitte and Lucio, the armor pack, and the rally to come through from Stardust. Side Effects have a lot they have to choose from. The damage boost coming out of the Valkyrie might just be enough to do it.
Earth Shatter gets utilized. It only finds Boger, but if they can find the front line, that's all that's needed, because who's going to stand on point now? The Pulse Bomb tries to come through. Chubb's low, but there's just too much healing behind it for a Tracer to deal with. And again, this is the biggest downside of only running with a solo frontline composition. You get taken down early, the solo Shatter essentially comes through, and Side Effects can't contest or touch. Now they only have 20 seconds.
20 seconds to get their butts onto point A. There's a lot of pressure on Jonah. If he doesn't find a one clip on Hidan and FD God, they will not find value in the Tracer. And now A10 is inching towards this Graviton Surge. Tech 36 already has the grab. Another nano boost to go over to Chubbs. Yeah, HSL Esports, they're going to set up this defense pretty comfortably.
Barrage comes down and does find Chubbs, although he does get taken down immediately afterwards. A10 has fallen as well, so all of a sudden, Side Effects, can you come back through? Frost made a switch from one sniper to the other, but it doesn't seem to find much success. As you can see, FD God, oh my goodness, he's just moving all over the place, finding extra damage, a little bit of sound boops here and there, and Boger now, he was the first one to fall previously. He'll be the last one to fall here. Overtime will fade away, and FD God will throw one more fist into that hamster's face, and that'll be enough for the full hold.
He saw the blood in his POV there at the end. He saw the hamster just rolling towards the mini pack. He's like, nah, I got this. Either boop or melee, and he found it even though the round was already gone. So one tick for HSL Esports will be their win condition to take Full Sky Industries and go up in the series 2-1. Side effects, a little bit of head scratcher there, staying on the solo tank triple DPS composition
For so long. Yeah.
For a long time. I almost wanted to see Frost go onto that Hanzo earlier and see Jonah pull out the Widowmaker, a very, very competent hit scan player Jonah is, just staying on the Tracer for too long, and we really got to see no Tracer's not dead, ladies and gentlemen. Twitch chat, why don't you just calm down with that one right now? It's just that Tracer has such a hard time against the composition that HSL Esports was having. I mean, even half a clip, 75% damage done to a squishy target is a biotic grenade, one dart, or an armor pack away from getting completely healed up. That the entire target prioritization for side effects just really was revolving around trying to focus on A10 and Chubbs. Not the right target prioritization. Hidan was open in that mega pack during all those rotations way too much. The side effects never really found the opening. They were kind of playing themselves like a fool. Hamster never going to find those dives over to the mega pack. It's too close of an area and going to get obliterated. Just a big ult battery at that point, even though you don't get ultimate charge from the adaptive shields that Wrecking Ball puts on to his own self. So now side effects, they really got a hope and a dream here with their composition. Double sniper on the defense here, a little bit of an opposite way of which I was saying that I want to see it, but double sniper nevertheless, triple if you count Sab on the Ana. Kav is going to have a lot of damage shielding to do. This is the utility of side effects. No defensive ultimate for their defense, but a lot of damage to come through. And burst potential. If Boger finds a good dive and Frost can pick apart even on the body shot or a headshot, HSL Esports could crumble. They take the swaps respectively over to a Winston dive triple support composition, but there's one iteration. There's no Brigitte. Sardius, he's on the Genji. Double support, triple tank, interesting comp.
I like this though, simply because again, Frost, you know, again, he was just not hitting shots on the Widow earlier, nor was he hitting it on the Hanzo when he swapped. So if you can just put the force in and they already know what they're going up against, you can find the proper dive and get these snipers in a bad spot. Oh my goodness. You know, he wasn't going to stay quiet for long, and that's about as good as it gets for Frost. Double headshot on double supports, and this will be a pushback, but I think, again, for HSL, you already almost have a nano boost. You have to keep playing this comp for at least one more go to try to get a blade off.
Frost, Full Sky Industries, there's ice on the ground. I feel right at home. Gonna go ahead and find a good couple of headshots too. Set himself up wonderfully. Early sight lines or early infrared sight is pretty good here for defense. You can always see where the defenders are coming in. Chubbs, early nano boost, jumping in very aggressively, gonna get slapped, woken up.
Now it just comes, but again, Chubbs has to back out immediately. As the boost fades, there's nothing there. Dragon Strike gets sent off.
Dragon's got
inside, but it gets denied by Tech Team as he's able to find himself the eat, and now all of a sudden right into Frost's face. All it takes is one tick of progress. And you can see side effects trying to sustain for one more contest. They're looking for the res. Sardis. No, he was not able to get the full damage done, but FD God follows up and then able to find Jonah, the target that was res. And now it looks like it will be side effects falling apart. I like the fact that they kept on this comp because, again, Frost, yes, you hit 2 good shots. It's, you know, props out to you because you didn't hit very many the time before, but it's not going to stay for very long. Stardust trying to track down the Tracer will do it with the blade, and that will be Volskaya favoring HSL Esports.
Cutting like cheese. It's nice. What's most important about the composition that HSL Esports rolled out with, you don't really need the Brigitte. It's so hard for Brigitte to find value against Double Sniper because you don't forget you do have to do damage to proc Inspire, the passive for Brigitte that allows her to heal in an AoE fashion. Yeah. The Genji just brings a lot to the table. Once one dive is found, there's no burst healing besides Ana that a biotic grenade is not up. For Sab on the defensive side effects, they get crumbled. One dash reset after another. It is a decent amount of damage, and don't forget that dive was still very popular, that if one good dive comes through off of the Winston and Diva, a dash reset away, another dash over to the next target. It was a very quick blade, and even faster nano boost from Hidan early on. Really put the oppressive pressure from the front line that they were already exhibiting from HSL Esports on the side effects, and really solidified it by just displacing Jonah on that on the Hanzo to the point, pulling out the Dragon Strike out of nearly fear. Just a very questionable Dragon Strike as a whole. Shot it right into a Diva Matrix. Could have helped out. Side effects hold on to that defense, but it was only one tick, so essentially one team fight victory for HSL Esports to go up in the series. Which they
It's
do.
kind of like when that happens. I mean, the Dragon Strike was going to be put in the proper direction because a lot of the pressure was coming on that left-hand side perspective from the defense.
Right.
But again, it gets eaten up, and you can almost feel the collective just heavy sighs. Like, well, I tried, guys. I tried.
You got eaten, but I tried. My dragons weren't
Exactly.
hungry enough. The Diva was more hungry. Tech 36 was more hungry today than
He was the
Dragons.
hungrier of the hippos, I guess. I love that game, by the way.
That should be a skin for Diva, by the way. I mean, I feel like
The
there's so
hungry
many
hippo?
references. Yeah, for like a hippo
Get
skin,
it.
right? I mean, like I know, like God bless Gregory for Overwatch League for being one of the best divas on the planet, wanting the frog skin. But I think a hippo skin would probably look just as good. I'm not gonna lie.
Down for it.
Yeah. I mean, like
Totally down for it.
maybe it's just us. Our 90s really coming through, but Hungry
Has to be.
Hippos is a great game. Great game as a whole. There's no team involved. Actually, it just comes down to you just smashing the heck out of one button to eat as many of those orbs as possible, which is what Diva's all about, right? You're eating orbs of destruction. You're eating ultimates. You're eating dragon strikes. You're eating graviton surge. I mean, that's just sounds pretty perfect, and we're getting a proper example of that for both of these Divas. Keep in mind, you today, Tech 36 is absolutely doing a better job at that, but I definitely can't downplay how good Metahan has been playing. You don't really see Metahan or Tech 36 showing up in the kill feed for their self-destructs. It's because they're doing a good job peeling and kiting for the backline, using the fence matrix very sparingly, so that way the front line can forever stay alive. You can't flicker it like you used to because it's on a 2-second cooldown, but when you're eating graviton surges, dragon strikes, as much as these two divas are, it really sets the pace for the fight and makes those fights in a 3-3 composition last even longer.
Yeah, absolutely so. And as we're about ready to set up our final map of this set, it will be the Escort. Again, side effects would need to win this to send it to a game 5. HSL, though, looking like they're pretty much in control. And, a lot of question marks, I think, in application as we kind of use the hindsight as far as that opening attack from side effects. But again, the whole pivotal success for that is you are able to split up the defense. That's the whole idea, right? You have damage from above, you have a sniper from the side, you've got a tracer behind you, and then you've got a hamster all over the place. And that never really seemed to happen. HSL just kind of rotated together and stayed together as we moved, and we will likely see, hopefully, that same element come into play here as HSL will be trying to set things up here on Junkertown for our Escort.
You don't hear many people talking about what makes that quad DPS most interesting. You lose a lot of sustain for your front line, and all DPS included, by only having solo support Mercy, but what you
And
gain...
solo front, too, yeah.
Exactly. What you gain mostly, though, is disruption. That's why I call it the corral composition, because you take so much splash damage and so much just space taken away from you from the hamster alone. You get corralled into the sightlines of either a Hanzo or the Widowmaker, which is why I was mostly interested to see Jonah on the Tracer rather than the Hanzo there for the attack, because that's how the composition's supposed to be played out. You get pressured off of one sightline into a corralled area, into a sightline of either one of the snipers, a body shot to take out more resources. HSL Esports played it very well. They never gave up too much space. They never gave up too much shield pressure. Moving over to Junkertown again, they are allotting to defend first as side effects chose this map. You're going to take a very aggressive hold. You see this happening in a lot of Escort maps these days, shits, because you get more contests in point A, probably 2, if not 3, plus ult charge included. Side effects, they're not having any games. Frost is going to roll out with the beat boop. Mr. Fashion coming out to break shields and armor today.
Yarg me mateys, here comes the pirate ship trying to get on through. Frost, oh my goodness, FD got
got?
worried. Hello?
Hi, how are you?
You see Frost right in front of you. He's got this giant Gatling gun, and it deals a lot of damage. I guess he will learn that firsthand, and this setup will be successful. And, well, they will move on for the pirate ship strat. Haven't seen this in quite some time. And here we go.
I think FD God saw Frost's name and was just like, yeah, Frost, sniper, I can go take him out. I'm Lucio, not a problem. But he was like, wait, Gatling gun. Wait, no, this is not a happy place to be. I don't want to be here anymore, and just gets torn to bits, too. What's most scary, too, is the side effects, because they rolled out on the Bastion comp, and they set up the pirate ships so prominently, and I already have a tank configuration very early on. HSL Esports, they have to get early support ultimates here. More importantly, Hedon has to get a lot of charge off to get this Transcendence if they want to shut down this fight for side effects. They have a lot of damage coming through soon.
Oh my goodness, the dive came through and they tried to find some way to get Frost going, and now it's
Here
the tank
it comes.
configuration. It's everybody's in one tight corner, and this is not what you want to see from HSL. They're going to get absolutely decimated. All the shields are gone. Even though they don't find all the eliminations off the tank, it still finds value. A10 will try to do a DPS battle here and will narrowly win it. Okay, we saw our first 1v1 of the day, but regardless, it will be A10 falling and Frost getting reds, so this will likely be point A.
Pirate ship ain't dropping no sales today, not so far. Gonna probably march into point B with it too. HSL Esports And, that last 1v1 was actually pretty strong because A10 was able to charge Graviton Surge in enough time. Are they going to recontest this? HSL Esports, you're mad.
And they're going to commit a lot for this as the Transcendence comes through. A10 will surely be throwing out a Graviton Surge here soon. Tech will be stunned out, and oh my goodness. I mean, the kill feed speaks for itself there, Panda. I'm a little bit lost on why you would try to contest that one last second. I mean, they still didn't have Chubbs. They didn't have the, they didn't have the sound barrier either. A10 isn't able to even get the grab off. It just seemed like a false committal as they do use one or ultimate, and well, you saw what happened. Immediately reversed from side effects.
What's most scary there too is that HSL Esports, they didn't have all of that shift, but they didn't have the information on where Frost and Boga were set up. They were just stuck in the sidelines forever, and then a Overwatch World Cup, tip your hat to Team Canada, self-destruct EMP, still a good combo, but Frost has another tank configuration. They cannot stop the sailboat.
And the sound barrier will come through, which will negate some of the damage, but good patience here for Frost. Graviton Surge will finally come. It's on the high ground, and again, there's no damage here. FD God will try to push everybody off, but Stardust follows up, and there's
nice self-destruct.
36, 8-ball, corner park it, able to find 2. Jumps will find another, and that will be enough in this billiards game to knock around enough, and HSL will hold up this very nice defense early. I would have liked to have seen that sooner, though. They threw away so much on that defensive capture or the first stage, Panda. You would have loved to have seen them just, do this instead of, forfeiting the ultimates for the first one, maybe.
And they kept putting themselves in very inauspicious areas, too, like the Mega Pack in those small areas where Bastion truly reigns supreme. Let's not forget that Bastion came through when the defensive units were still in attacking composition, where they deal so much damage in a closed area. Now HSL Esports are taking matters into their own hand, where side effects only essentially have 2 ways to approach the cart now. They chose the wrong choice, as HSL Esports are already set up on the high ground, marching through that small enclosed area. A10 is going to land those right clicks at high charge, halfway to another Graviton Surge. Tech 36, however, doing a very good job of just realizing how warfare is supposed to be played out. How do you deal with tanks? A nuclear bomb. And able to actually force side effects over to a traditional composition. Jonah's still staying onto the Sombra. If they can force HSL in the small area, this EMP could be huge. Only finds 2.
But it does find Tech and Hadan, so that Coalescence will not be used yet. Both the Lucios fall in this fight, so we're not going to see any sound barriers, at least not for a moment. Self-destruct comes through, trying to avoid it. The self-barrier will be good enough to keep A10 alive through it and get him near full charge, and this fight will essentially just be backed up, reset, and they'll try again 66.
Gonna have to just count your resources and build up to as many as you can. I'm almost wondering why Jonah has not swapped over to the Zarya. It's probably your best answer to enter out of this composition, but Kav gets caught out, and now the gas pedal is hit.
Chubbs. Oh, he almost got pinned 3-bit Boger. He'll fall immediately after. Another clean wipe here for HSL, only having to use the Coalescence. That's insane value, honestly, as you take a look at what's still available for HSL. This is looking really solid here on stage 2.
The frontline oppression from HSL Esports is taking into disruption for side effects. They're never fully grouped around the speed boost of Kav, and one member always gets caught out. And HSL Esports, they don't even really have to cycle any ultimates. They're just winning off of vanilla Overwatch alone. Side effects are still trying to build towards their ult economy, reversing the roles, pushing up on the staircase.
Graviton Surge will soak up a lot, but Saab immediately goes into the Transcendent Self-Destruct. Is right here, and what a good boop that was! FD God comes in from behind, pushes everybody away, and it will find 2. Full value for Tech 36. But again, on the back end play of a good sound wave, and HSL continuing to be super stalwart on this opening defense.
You can drop down, try to get as much ult charge as possible. A10 hanging up and around 90% charge. A lot of this defense on the second point of Junkertown. 60 seconds left. Side effects. Just taking the swap over to Zarya. Jonah's going to have to do a lot of work to get this Graviton Surge up and in time. HSL Esports, so they are still working around the resources. Chubbs will have this Earth Shatter in his back pocket. If he finds 1 or 2 side effects, we're really going to be at a deficit in this in their attack phase.
And they will try to hit down 1, but Boger able to respond with one of his own. Chubbs very low, but will be sustained. Wow, again, another really great timing on the sound barrier. Coalescence from the top ropes. It looks like A10 at full charge will be able to take care of at least 1, and everybody is trapped here. It just comes down to, again, you have to touch the payload. It's still sitting near that front gate, and this is just free damage for A10. He says, all right, guys, thanks so much for just sitting down here, by the way. I'll just keep holding left click on you and throwing out these little particle grenades, and he's already full charge. Another Graviton Surge. Just comes down to will he want to use it to keep this defense. Actually gets mini stunned, and all of a sudden, side effects able to pull this one back through. All of the damage was coming from the high ground, but feeling that they had to contest, side effects will get a chance to push this in overtime.
They were able to get control of the payload and save ultimates at that shift. Jonah has the Graviton Surge. Boger and the Earthshadow, they have all 3 tank ultimates. HSL Esports, no defensive ultimates. He just swapped over to the Zenyatta. A10 only has the Graviton Surge combo with Tech 36. His self-destruct will be the only answer if HSL Esports wants to stop it on second.
And it looks like there will be a Graviton Surge for A10, but it's on the high ground in front of his team where none of his opponents were, so that will find absolutely nothing. Jonah responds with one of his own. The rally armor is appreciated, but it's just not enough. Side effects, they've taken down some key targets. It just comes down to Chubbs. He will find 1 pin on the Saab, but that's pretty inconsequential as the numbers just too vastly in favor of Side effects. They're going to push this through and get themselves a go at the 3rd stage.
HSL Esports try to take that fight from the high ground. Graviton Surge, I believe, only found 1, if not 2. I believe it was Frost on the inside of it. The Side effects, on the other hand, though, I mean, it was a very interesting rotation that they took. They just kind of stared at HSL Esports, just using their ultimates on the high ground away from the cart, and they were like, well, okay. Well, you get to come here anyway. And Jonah was just like, hey, look at that. Defense Matrix down. Graviton Surge. Already lapping A10 in a Graviton Surge charge is emphatic within its own self. And now Jonah's really having a heck of a game so far. Keeping Boger alive and sustaining him in the middle of that fight was most important because there was a lot of damage being thrown on top of him. Tech 36 throwing in the self-destruct won't find any value but space.
He almost got it into that little side alley, though. I think that was probably the goal. Frost does fall, though, as Hadan just keeps throwing out these orbs of destruction. Graviton coming through potentially here for Jonah. That's going to be what needs to happen if they want to turn this fight around. There it comes. Has Transcendence immediately responded with from both Zenyatta players, and it just comes down to finding those couple last eliminations. The Boger is already down. Chubbs, the Earthshatter is not there. A10 has got himself a grab. He will soak in a handful, and the damage is good. HSL, they'll find this first defense here in the 3rd stage. Just 25 seconds left.
Even though the trance was too early from Saab yet again, I feel this is a revolving topic for Saab ever since King's Row. Very early Transcendence, the Graviton self-destruct combo was there for A10 and Tech 36. Or I'm sorry, just the Graviton Surge from A10. Good utilization, but Metahan threw the self-destruct in aggressively. Not proactive enough. And now Side Effects don't have any ultimates for the middle of this fight. Could be the final nail in their coffin of Junkertown.
Scrappy fight right in front of the doors. But again, overtime is here, so they have to continue to touch. Kav is on the backside, though. He's actually just sitting on the payload, just throwing out sound waves, actually keeping a lot of this front line for HSL in this back corner. And the target prioritization is all over the place, but somehow it does favor that of HSL. The sound barrier is used as it comes up for Side Effects, but is it too little, too late? Looks to be so. A day late, $1 short on this offensive push. It looks like the overtime will surely fade away as soon as they find this last Lucio kill, which he will be discorded and likely taken down, but the respawns are coming out, so an opportunity potentially. Sound barrier utilized for HSL in the defense.
From the top rope!
He's still holding it!
You know what's most important there for HSL Esports to take away? What the thing that they have done better through the entirety of this series shift is that they are understanding where FD God is placing these right clicks, these boops, right? He's actually sound waving a lot of core members of Side Effects into tight corners where HSL Esports are able to pick up on that that damage. If one member of the Ghost composition is out of position, you have to deal with it effectively, especially if it's a Zenyatta, Lucio, or Brigitte, because they have lower HP, and you're going to be able to deal with that target more efficiently with the Discord Orb, which is what you saw at the end, which is why we were writing Hidan's POV so prominently. You heard all those headshots at the end, ladies and gentlemen. This man has been popping off, able to help HSL Esports hold their ground against Side Effects' oppressive attack there, stalling out as much time as possible. They still gave away the second capture point, and now 2 capture points in 26.45 meters stands in between HSL Esports walking away with the series victory. Side Effects need to hold on one of the early capture points, if not before the golden checkbox of victory, to force a Game 5 and to continue on the gatekeep that they have been forcing on HSL Esports.
Yeah. A lot of push, though. I mean, again, it was a very solid defense for HSL throughout that second stage up until it mattered when it was in overtime. And will they come out with the same kind of pirate ship strategy? It looks like they're hovering it so far, but we'll at least know what Side Effects is coming out. Again, this double sniper, it's been better for Frost on defense than it has been on offense for the Widow specifically. We'll take a look to see if he can hit some more headshots here.
Yeah, Frost seems to have the same problem that I do, right? He does a better job of hitting people in the head when they're not looking at him. I feel it, though. I feel it, though, because I honestly get shook. When I'm getting stared at, I blink first, and that's generally how those things happen. HSL Esports, we're not happy with the pirate ship that they just had the debunk, so they're looking at Side Effects dead in their eyes, and they're like, you know what? It's your turn. Hidan will be rolling out on the Ana, though, so a lot more sustainability going over to HSL Esports. More importantly, they drop the third support. They're actually picked up the third tank. Chubbs is on the Reinhardt, Sardis on the Orisa. This is full sails on the payload. This is going to catch air quickly and move downstream.
And for Frost, I mean, what targets do you have available to you? Sob,
Right.
it's actually big, able to find the D-Mech on the tech, so without the defense matrix being there, is there an opportunity? Jonah already with a Dragon Strike will throw it out for free. Some damage found, but more importantly, it splits the team actually exactly in half, but again, not a lot of follow-up. One headshot will hit the pilot mech, and he will have to essentially back up from this fight because, again, the Bastion has been set up. Sardis needs to be the target, but again, I mean, what do you do here? I mean, for Frost, he's trying to find some cheekiness in the back line. He finds himself one. The flick shot not there. Machine gun configuration. Goodness gracious, Frost. What, dude? I mean, what? That's insane.
You ask what you do as Widowmaker against this composition. You pull some pine tactics. You pull out the pine tactics. You go behind them. You say, hey, guess what? Widowmaker on the flank. Because you know what's so scary against double sniper? It still reigns supreme since stage 3 of Overwatch. Like, you have to be prepared that when you're in one sideline of Jonah, that where's the other sideline coming from? Where's the other sniper? Frost, well, he's behind you, and he's gonna hit those shots. I can't tell you, if you ever have the moment to watch this player and Jonah play their Widowmaker 1v1s, I definitely want you to go watch that, ladies and gentlemen. They are so insane in these up close and personal situations, forcing side effects off of the Bastion or forcing HSL into this tight corridor. They're gonna try to find value in the tank configuration.
Oh, the Dragon Strike was thrown out, but he was a little bit too close to his target. Didn't actually find the pressure that HSL is putting on. Supercharger used, A10 out of the configuration tank, and now he'll just set up the sentry gun, and wow. It's just free damage, everyone lined up, but he actually gets taken down by an orb destruction volley from Sob, so all of a sudden, side effects on the back end of that, it looks like they might be able to have a chance to move on in. Frost, again, is 100% free, wants to line up the headshot on the very slippery Mercy, just going back and left and right, a little AD toggling from him, but Tech, he will go try to find the outside of the map to reset this. Side effects hold on after that play from Soft.
There you go, that body shot makes up for you. Hitting a little Mercy like that too. I mean, that's hard. That's actually the smallest hitbox in Overwatch, but still, never in the end. Yeah, you're gonna make up for a couple headshots there. Frost having a wonderful game. Headshot on a Hedon. Hedon swapped over to Moira because he wasn't getting sustained against the damage that side effects is laying down. Just a fade out of damage. He got hit by a body shot, but it's a headshot. Damage boost, it didn't even matter. Hedon out of the fight. Main support, HSL have to reset one more time. 60 seconds will be on the board once the HSL see the light of the point, and they're forced over to their standard ghost composition. Frost again, finding Sardis. They can't shut him down.
Jonah from the back line as well. The storm arrows fade away. Chubbs, he does, I think, actually get the Earthshatter off, but he falls immediately afterwards, so no damage to follow up with, and self-destruct for side effects just to be thrown out. Frost will be rezzed, and we've got a little bit of a 1v1 on point. A10 versus Boger, a little bit of a shield dance happening here, and A10 should fall. A10 should fall. He's not gonna fall. Are you kidding me? HSL in the last second, they have a chance to move on in. The Supercharger is here for side effects, but there just aren't any numbers. And I think that was pretty much just one last desperation ultimate. The Battle Mercy comes in and immediately taken out of the air. We will see stage 1 completed with a little bit of time on the clock.
Yeah, and what? How did A10 even get over there? What did he possibly see to go? You know, whatever. It worked. It worked. The side effects, they were totally split across the mini pack, just trying to find snipes and as many shots as possible on a staggering HSL Esports. A10 just kind of walks forward, finds charge onto an Orisa, forces side effects onto second point, and the swaps themselves going in the mirror matchup. Jonah again hanging off onto this DPS ultimate with the Dragon Strike. Could find value. Tech 36 needs to shut it down by eating it, or a support ultimate needs to come through. HSL Esports won't have any of it. Good Dragon Strike on the card.
Splits, yeah, and again, it splits up the team completely, but look at that. Graviton, A10, able to soak in everybody that was split apart and brings them right back together. And wow, that's absolutely great play from HSL to sustain. Again, they were split up, but A10 says we can just go ahead and take this part of the fight, and they're able to turn this one into a pretty successful start to stage 2. Panda, are you still there?
Frost taking over to the Brigitte role for Jonah going over to Zarya. This is their standard Ghost composition. HSL Esports, they're doing a good job of winning the Mirror Ghost matchup. With ult economy included, Sob has to use this Transcendence just to get presence on the point.
And even still, the D-Mech comes out on the meta, so all of a sudden, essentially a 6-on-5, that Bunny Blaster's not going to mean much in this tight corridors fight. Chubb still with an Earthshatter. Will he even need to use it, though, as the second stage is right there? They're knocking on the door, and well, they'll not just knock, they'll kick it on in. HSL with now plenty of time to try to finish off this map. They don't even need to completely finish it. They're almost there already.
almost going to push forward with their ultimate economy and set themselves up for the victory. Shift, let's not forget this last team fight will give the series victory over to HSL Esports. Side effects, they need to use what they have to get sustained or to push themselves into a map 5 situation. But HSL Esports, A10 hanging off on the high ground. He will get dealt with the push down. Getting closer to that Graviton Surge. Tech 36 hanging on to the self-destruct for a combo, perhaps.
And Shrubs able to find an Earthshatter around the Frost, who will fall. And now we'll get another very big downtown Graviton Surge from A10. Tech will clean up with Jonah. This looks like it's gonna be it. It just comes down to taking meta on a mech, which they will do successfully. Now it's on to the Lucio. Full cleanup. Golden checkbox of victory found, realized, and loved by HSL. They will take this set 3-1. And again, you talk about what this means for HSL in full here, Panda. Again, this is just a round-robin style tournament. There are no playoffs here. And with the 2 losses that HSL currently has, it will take a lot. They have to win out and essentially win big in all of their last matches. And unfortunately for them, they still have to go up against Novus and Young and Beautiful, 2 of the top teams that we're already seeing here in EU Contenders Trials. But not out of it yet for Side Effects, though. That's pretty much, that spells no chance at top 2 for them.
I enjoy heavily how you just try to weigh out the scales in a very optimistic format, but you're like,
I tried.
But the scales are pretty even right now. I mean, all things considering, HSL losing that 1 map on Control to Side Effects really sets them further behind than they want it to be. This comes down to a lot of different things for the games later on today. I mean, we have Shoes Money Crew, Orgulous and Hungry, Young and Beautiful versus Novice. The Shoes Money Crew not only have to lose maps against Orgulous and Hungry, but so do Young and Beautiful. All of these teams, in fact, it would be beneficial for Young and Beautiful to actually lose more maps than Novus, but there's a lot of things that can go right for HSL Esports. It's so seek contention. Novus, we still have more days and more games to be played for HSL Esports. They need to pick what they learned from this matchup in Side Effects, because I don't think they got pushed to the limit like they did from a team that they probably weren't expecting to get pushed back from. More importantly, I think it just comes down to their clinical GOATs play. They can't always try to get cheeky with their play. They can't overestimate their opponents. They have to play their sustained game by way of composed Zarya play. I mean, we know that A10 has more than enough